Welcome to Of Sound Mind and Spirit. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Lisa. We're sisters walking together on a journey of faith. We're not perfect.
And we definitely don't have all the answers. We're inviting you to walk with us as we explore ways we can better know and grow in our faith together. Welcome back to another episode from Of Sound Mind and Spirit. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Shelley.
So I understand that you signed up for a Bible study recently.
Well, yeah, I did. It took me a while to say yes. I was invited to do it, and it sounded like a great study, and I was super excited, but something held me back, and I really had to convince myself to do it.
That's not like you. What made you not want to sign up for a Bible study?
Well, the hiccup was we live in this city called Houston, and things are pretty far, and this Bible study was more than 30 minutes drive away.
Okay. And
That's a long drive. I mean, so for a 2-hour study to spend almost 2 hours in the car just getting there and back, it just felt very self-indulgent. Is that the right word? It felt like a waste. No, I shouldn't say a waste, but like that's just a long time to drive for something for myself, just me in the car by myself.
now, remind me again, you take your daughter to soccer and she's how far away for practice?
Well, when I was driving her, we drove an hour each way to practice, 2 to 3 times a week.
But
Yeah.
that's interesting that when it's for yourself,
Yes.
you're hesitant.
Yes.
Yeah, that you called it self-indulgent.
Yes. It's weird, right? I
Yeah.
felt guilty. I'm spending money on gas. I'm toll payments and all this stuff, and yet I do it for my kids.
I think a lot of women, including myself, can identify with that though. That
Mhm.
when we want to do something that's for ourselves, it does feel like, oh, but I should be saving time. I should be just focused in doing what I need to be doing, taking care of
Mhm.
other people, taking care of my house, taking care of my job. So it's
Mhm.
interesting that you have that same dilemma.
Right. I mean, it was like, what's wrong with Bible studies that are closer to home? Why do I have to drive across town to go to one? But I did it, and I actually didn't get to finish it because life did get in the way. But it was a great study, and I hope to join them again at that parish.
So, would you say that taking yourself to a Bible study on the other side of town was something you did for yourself as part of self-care? I know that's a word that's very
Hmm.
popular these days.
It is very popular. And I think that the whole Gen X middle-aged women thing, we don't use that word a lot. That is not something we were raised with, in my opinion. The idea of I'm using little air quotes, self-care. We were just supposed to get it done, right? Go do what's the
All
word?
the things?
Yeah, do all the things. Be productive, like the idea of taking time out for yourself or doing something for fun when your to-do list isn't checked off, or somebody might need you, or there's that work project, something, right?
Mhm.
That's not
Yep.
something I think a lot of us were raised with, that idea.
No, I'll agree with that because you and I were talking before we got on that when we were being raised, we were in the era of when women were being told that they can do anything they want, that they can be anything that they want,
Hmm.
and that we should be doing everything, living up to our full potential.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes. Yes, it's not just that we could do it. I feel like there was an expectation of the 80s, 90s women to do it all. You were supposed to go to work, have the family, volunteer for all the activities, everything.
You just reminded me of that commercial that we saw growing up. And it's just got to be, I mean, I was probably 7 or 8 years old, maybe 9, very, what do you call it? Impressionable age. Do you remember the commercial that was, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan? and never let you forget you're a man.
Yep, because
Like
I'm
we
a
were
woman.
right. Anjali, it was a perfume commercial. So I had to
Oh,
sing it to
yes.
myself.
Yes, I'm
Anjali. Okay.
singing it in my head right now. Yeah.
So
Oh gosh.
we were told that we were not supposed to be our mother's generation. We were not supposed to be happy and content raising our families and being a homemaker. And I mean, I never took home economics, so I
I
don't
did.
even
I
know.
did. I still don't know how
Okay.
to cook, but I did. Yes. I did. My classmates used to make me set the table because I did so badly cooking.
But we were also expected to be more than, say, the jobs that in our mother's era and grandmother's era were reserved for women. We were expected to break that mold, break that ceiling.
Yes.
And I would say all the way up through I mean, even today, maybe, I don't know that we're still, why haven't women cracked all the ceilings in the
Mhm.
CEO? Why haven't we had this? Why haven't we had that? And, maybe because our children's generation is waking up and going, hello.
Yeah, they're saying, "Wait a minute. Y'all have been doing all the things for 30, 40 years and you're tired and you're angsty and you're not taking care of yourselves." And they watch us and they say, I mean, some things they love. I mean, I'm not wrong. I'm pretty good mom and all that. But like there's a lot of things that they watch us and they go, "You should be doing this," I'll say better. And by better, I mean that whole they look and say work life balance, you should, which is a myth. But
Mm-hmm.
don't tell Gen Z I just said that. There's all these things that they watch us and they say, "Okay, I want the job and I want the family, but I want to do it in a way that I'm not as exhausted as you are all the time."
Now, I will say, I think in that respect, the gender roles are moving and changing. I know that there are men who stay home now, and that there are women who do find a much better fulfillment in their careers than, say, being stay at home moms. And that's good. But today we were going to talk about taking care of ourselves and why we need
Yes.
to do it and how we should be able to do it, especially if you're women in midlife and feel this guilt about taking care of yourself. We need to do it without the guilt.
Yes. Yes. Here's the funny thing. Like we are so and I'm speaking to middle-aged women because that's what we are. So there's our experience, and I'm not saying that if you're in your 30s this doesn't apply to you, but we are pulled in so many directions. It doesn't matter if you have kids or no kids, or you work full time or you don't work full time. It really is kind of a universal female thing, I'll say, that we are called to take care of people and nurture people. And that's just, I believe, part of who God made us to be as women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to give our all. We just want to give our whole selves. And so when we stop for a moment and take a step back from that and look inward and say, I should, like my Bible study that I had time for, like I
Mm-hmm.
had the time. I just think, oh, that just seems indulgent. That just seems like a luxury. That I probably shouldn't do that. Well, why not? What is wrong with doing something that inspires me, works my mind, that helps me grow closer to God, that lights me up and makes me a better person so that I can take care of the things I need to take care of? Why should I feel guilty about
I'm going to say you shouldn't, because
that?
you said it yourself. You had the time, and I'm doing those in air quotes too. You had the time.
Right, right. I can make the time. Yeah.
I remember working the 50 hours plus a week in the corporate job. I would have given anything to have been able to do a Bible study. But by the time I did the work in the office and the commute home and interacted with my children and got everybody ready for the next day, and God bless my husband because he did become the stay-at-home dad and took care of a lot of things in our house. I could not make that time for
Hmm.
myself. So I understand the guilt feeling of finding time for yourself. But as you and I were talking, you helped me see tiny, small, little ways that I could and to take time for myself, other than hiding out in the bathroom with my cell phone, because yes, we all do it. We know. Because that's the only time you had where nobody was going to bother you for 15 minutes and you could breathe, you know.
Right, right. I used to when I would teach faith formation, I used to tell the kids, like, do you know the number one place that I pray? And they'd be like, no. And this is when my kids were much younger. And I was like, in the shower, because I'm by myself and I have nothing else to do. So, I mean, besides wash my hair, like pray in the shower. So I agree. And that's it. You don't need these, like I had 4-hour block to go to this study. You don't need that. There are lots of ways to practice self-care. And I know mom right now, mom, I see you. Like I hear you in my head. I see you. You're like, self-care. You just can't get past that word. I know you. So we're calling it self-care. I know it's the trendy word, but that's what we're just going to call it because I think most people recognize what we're trying to say.
I think one of the important things to do first is to figure out what your body needs. You need to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what you need. If you're feeling that stress and then anxiety, and you're not currently doing what you might think of as defined as self-care, you're not taking care of yourself physically or emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, spiritually. This isn't a one and done kind of thing. And it's not always something you need to checklist or add to your to-do list. But it's something that you need to be in tune with your body and your mind and figure out, and then
Mm-hmm.
find ways to incorporate it into your day in small
Right.
ways.
It's funny if you want to start with what your body needs. I mean, number one, that seems obvious. I would say, get current with checkups as we get older. Like if you go do your physical, go to your screenings and all of that. Make the time for those. That way, you at least know you're not missing any health issues. I feel the need to say it, but that one should be a given, right?
But yet I will say that a lot of women, that's the first one to go, because if you're at the office, you have to take time off work to go, and it has to be very purposeful. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's an easy one to push back if you're not feeling like there's an issue. But you're right. At a certain age, you need to.
And if you have kids in the home, then you've got to find someone to watch the kids. So
Oh, that's true. I didn't think of
I
that.
will say when it comes time for your kids checkup, do you miss it or do you go?
I think when they're younger, you absolutely take them, and not
Yeah.
just because they need immunizations in order to go to school.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we make the effort for other people. But I was reminded, when we were talking about this, I was reminded about our episode 36, which was Moving with Grace. And in that one,
Oh,
you remember our friend Amy Connell
yeah.
came
Mhm.
on and she gave us, you asked her, what are two things that are really important to women to help our bodies, help ourselves as we age. And it was funny because what she said surprised us. And I think it has stayed with me. I didn't even have to look this up. The number one thing she said was protect your sleep.
Yes.
And that not getting, I'll say enough, and I'll say quality sleep affects everything. It affects your energy level. It affects the way you mood swings, the way you handle stress and anxiety. It just affects everything. So one is protect your sleep. And I won't get in the details of how to do that because I'm going to encourage people to go back and listen to episode 36 if you want the details from that. And then the second one, it was a huge surprise, and that was take deep breaths. See, you
Isn't
already
that
do. I'm watching you,
strange?
Shell. You're doing like I say it, and you're immediately like, breathing in really deeply.
Mhm.
She said, take at least 3 belly filling deep breaths a day. And she suggested to do it in the bathroom if you don't have any other time.
I was thinking in the car when you're driving. That's when you
Yeah.
might need to be taking big, deep breaths, especially with traffic these days.
But she was saying when you breathe in and breathe out, just take those seconds to just check in with your body. Where's your stress? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? Just kind of give yourself the moment to exhale all of that away, but do it 3 times. I love that. And I do try to do that. I don't know. I don't always remember to breathe.
Okay. Do you remember with our grandmother Myrrh? She used to put all us kids
Oh
on the
my gosh,
floor
yes.
and put on one of those like relaxation tapes,
Yes.
and it was talk about like breathe in through your nose,
Mm-hmm.
breathe out, and then like relax your toes, then your
Yeah,
ankles. Remember that? That was
I love that.
wonderful. I still think of that.
She used to do that when and she had a bunch of the grandkids over and we were being chaotic and we were all little. There's so many of us. We were all little. And that's what she would do. She would have us all lay down in the family room and put on her relaxation tapes. Hey, it
And I
worked,
think
didn't it?
she needed it more than we did, but
I don't
maybe it was
know.
just her way of calming us down. No, I remember her doing all of
I
that.
remember
So,
that. That's funny.
see,
That's
Myrrh,
funny.
Myrrh was a leader in self-care.
That's right. I love it. I love it.
Well, Lisa, there's other little ways that you could adopt self-care, even if you're in the office. And I would say take a break, get up and walk around. We used to have people that would go in the stairwells and walk up and down the stairs just to get the blood flowing. And if someone said, "Hey, where's so and so? They're taking a break," and I found them walking in the stairwell, I'd be like, "Good." Because moving your body and getting your blood flowing gets it back into your brain. It helps wake you up and it helps you refocus. And most people think, I'll just power through and get the spreadsheet done. But actually, that is counterintuitive to what your body needs. Your body needs to get up, it needs that circulation to kind of refresh your brain.
Yes, I would agree with that. I was reading something after I stopped working so much. I was trying to do creative work, kind of stuff that we do now. And that was something that was important, was going for a walk or doing something that felt unproductive, right? I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't walking for a workout or anything, but just to do something where your mind can rest. And in that rest, it allows the creativity.
Kind of like you in the shower.
Like me in the shower. Yeah. So I have found that is an important part of my week. I don't do it every day, but it's an important part of my week is to give myself that kind of quiet, unbusy time so that then my brain can relax and move forward,
Mm-hmm. If you have a commute, if you're driving the kids to school or you're driving home from the school or driving to or from the office, that's another opportunity to practice self-care. Because I think you were telling me that, like our dad, you drive with the radio off.
Not always, but I find that if I've been very extroverted, and I am an extrovert, but like if I've been very extroverted, I then need to turn the radio off. I need silence just again to rest and,
Let your mind rest.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that I can keep going because otherwise I'll come home and I'm exhausted.
And see, that's again, knowing what your body needs to
Mm-hmm.
take care of itself. And I'm the opposite. I don't always turn the radio off. I mean, I do in what you've described, but I use that time to either listen to a specific radio show or Hallow or a podcast. And because it engages my mind in a way that's different from what I'm going to the office to do.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, and that's something else. There's so many different ways. And you were saying listen to your body, and I would say also listen to what do you enjoy? What lights you up? What gets you excited? What, gets you moving? What makes you feel refreshed and ready to take on the world, or or your to-do list or makes you joyful.
Listening to us.
Yes. Always, always, always.
Okay, Lisa, let's move on and talk about a few of the things that we
Okay.
feel guilty for doing, because we've talked a
Ooh.
little bit about things we can do that we might not feel guilty about doing. But there are
Okay.
some of these things on our list that I
Make you feel
know,
guilty?
oh yeah, big time. You want me to start?
Yes, please.
Watching TV.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel
Hmm.
guilty. I'm wasting time sitting here watching a 30-minute show or, gosh forbid, an hour-long show.
That's funny. For me, it's sometimes things like doing a crossword puzzle, or we keep jigsaw puzzle pretty much on the kitchen table. And I will feel guilty if I will just take a break during the day and go over and just like sometimes I'll stand there and do it. But then if I sit down to do it, that means it's intentional. And then I feel bad. Like I should be doing something. I'm sure there's laundry or there's, like work stuff on my computer I need to be doing. But
Mm-hmm.
it gives me again another outlet to let my everything just kind of rest.
You inspired me with your puzzle on your kitchen table, because I know you and your children especially love having that. It's a family gathering point to do the
Mm-hmm.
puzzle. We started doing one at Christmas time, and it's only at Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
And we take over the upstairs work table and we set it out for Christmas. And this year I did the whole puzzle all by myself because nobody else came up and worked on it. The kids were in and out the door. But you're right. I would walk by and I would stop for I'll say, oh, I'm only going to stay here for 5 minutes. I'm going to put 5 pieces in this puzzle. The next thing I know, 30 minutes have gone by.
Mm-hmm.
But so, yeah, I feel guilty for stopping. But at the same time, by the time I come into the office and get back to work, the creativity is flowing again. So,
Right. It gives you that reset.
yes, exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I would say going and meeting a friend for coffee.
Oh,
That is something that, or going to meet them for dinner or something. But but making that time, especially when my family is home.
Mm.
So I'll say me leaving or scheduling something. It's easy for me to schedule things during the week when I have a very flexible schedule, working from home and they're not here. But if it's evenings or weekends, I don't plan things because I feel like I need to be here and spend all of my time with them since I don't see them all the time.
I think that's a very valid point.
Yeah. And it's okay. I mean, I don't want to lose all my time with them, but it's okay not to be sitting around waiting to do something with them.
Mm-hmm. What about, now this one may not feel guilty about. This one's going to feel more like a necessity. And it might be
Mhm.
higher on a lot of our list. Going and getting your hair done, going and getting your nails done. And we may not always think of that as, air quotes again, self-care. But we are. We're taking care of ourselves and our appearance and how we look, how we feel about ourselves.
Yes, I would agree. I've not felt guilty about my hair. I do get my hair colored.
Which, by the way, your hair looks fabulous.
Oh, thank
I
you.
know
I
you
have
were
it
there
done
this
this week.
week. Mine's
but
next week.
but I don't feel bad about it. But you're right. I don't get my nails or any of those other things. But something I do for myself that makes me feel better about myself is I do get monthly massages.
Ooh.
And that one, and there's a double guilt there because it costs money, just like my hair does, or nails, or if you wanted to go buy new clothes or something like that, it does cost money. But what I found was I carry a lot of stress in my body, and the older I'm getting, the worse it's getting. And someone gifted me, a massage, and I went, and I was like, this really helps me. And it was so funny. I left, and I'm like, why do I not do this? Why? And I had to just sit and think about it. And then I thought about how much it costs and what else I do that costs that amount of money. And, and I don't feel guilty about other things. So I will say I gifted that to myself to go once a month. It's an hour and I look forward to it. And I just feel relaxed afterwards. And so it's really important for me.
That's a great idea. And for people who can't get away like that, maybe they could look into getting one of those, like the chair pads that sit in the chair.
Mm.
You know, that what are those, like shiatsu, that where the balls move up and down and it warms up. We gifted my husband one for Christmas a couple of years back, and everybody loves to sit in that chair and turn on the massager and let
That's
it,
so
like
funny.
roll up and down our backs. So,
Do you know one that I just thought of that many of us don't do
mm-mm.
that is kind of silly? That eat lunch.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
eat lunch, not at your desk, not standing up in the kitchen, not driving in the car.
Not in a meeting.
Yeah, take 15, even just 15 minutes, and just rest and eat. I have started doing that. I have purposely, in the middle of my day, made myself sit, maybe read a book for 15 minutes while I'm eating. Do something different. Don't continue doing what I was doing while I'm eating, because I usually stand up and eat. I'm just going to be honest.
Quick question for you,
Yes.
because I wouldn't feel guilty about eating. But when you do some of these things that you might feel guilty for hitting the pause button and sitting down and doing, like a puzzle or reading or watching television, do you usually set like a timer or mentally say, okay, I'm going to allow myself to do this for 30 minutes and then I will feel better. I know I'll feel better. And then I can move on and do something else.
Most of the time, yes. Depending on what all I need to get done that day and how my day is structured, then because then I don't feel guilty about it. If I just want to lay on the couch and watch 4 hours of TV, that's different.
Yeah, then I would feel guilty. Yeah, that would be bad. So.
But something else is a hobby. When I was younger, especially when the kids were little, I really wanted to do hobbies. I mean, I scrapbooked. Remember when scrapbooking was super popular? I did crafts all the time. I know you're shaking your head. You remember me doing all this. You didn't do all this.
I didn't do
I
any
was
of that.
sewing. I made clothes for the kids constantly. Like I was always crafting and had hobbies, and I don't do those things anymore. And so for Christmas, I asked for a embroidery kit.
Have you done it yet?
Actually, no, it's been a year and a half. I haven't opened it yet. So, but it is, and my oldest keeps reminding me. She's like, Mom, remember you were going to take up a hobby. You're going to, and I'm like, I know that once I start it, it'll be fine. I just can't get myself to start it. So I need to do it.
I think when I took that last job is when I stopped sewing altogether.
Yeah. Here's a suggestion. So there's so many things you could do. Again, we're all individuals. One of the things like you might put on the list is adoration, prayer, read a spiritual book, all these things. So one of my tips would be keep a note. Like I have notes on my phone and I make notes when I think of things. Because when you have the time, you never think of anything.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
You're like, I don't know what to do with my time.
It's Saturday. What am I doing today? We don't have baseball. Oh, wait, the farmer's market is this weekend. That would be fun.
Like everyone's gone for a minute and you're like, what do I do? I'm going to do laundry. In my notes app, I make a note of things, not just that I can do like right now, but things I want to do. Because when you do have that time, you can't think of it. So I have notes for like when I'm empty nesting, what do I want to do with, when I suddenly I'm not, going to soccer games and all those kinds of things. Like, what is it that I want to do? What do I want to learn? What kind of hobbies, So I keep notes on my phone just as an extra reminder when I need it. Because the idea is to pay attention to what, like I said, lights you up, what inspires you, what encourages you, what supports you, all those things. And then do the ones, try them out, figure out what you like, and then make it a habit. So you don't because the problem is we don't take care of ourselves. We haven't talked about that. What happens when we don't take care of ourselves? It's not pretty. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn to say we've probably all been there. Moody, depressed, aches and pains in our joints, tired, just not as optimistic as maybe we usually are. We don't want to get in the funk.
Right. Go take a hot bath. Put some smelly things out.
baths.
No?
I don't like that.
So go take a hot shower?
Yes, I'll do a shower.
Okay. Go for a swim? Because you have a pool. I don't.
I do have a pool. Yeah. I don't get in it though if it's cold.
So you mentioned habits, Lisa. So I wanted to give a shout out to episode 13, Time to Start a New Habit.
Oh, that's
The
right.
time to start a new habit is whatever day you decide is a good day to start.
That's right.
I know in the episode we say when the kids go back to school, but
Right.
any day you decide to start, that's the day.
That's right. The time to start a new habit is today.
Another reason to think about self-care and how you are or you aren't taking care of yourself is because God made you and he gave you your body, he gave you your mind, he gave you your spirit, and we are made in his image and likeness. And we want to take care of ourselves because if you're a regular mass goer, you know that when you go up and you receive the body of Christ, that Christ comes and lives in you and you become in communion, one with him. And that's a really important thing. So we need to take care of ourselves so that we can be ready to receive him. So go to reconciliation, go to adoration, go to mass. And remember that St. Paul wrote to the Corinthians, do you not know that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? I say that to remind you that whatever you're going through, whatever anxiety you have, however you are listening to this and thinking, I'm not taking care of myself right, start somewhere. Make that doctor appointment. Call a friend. Go for a walk for 5 minutes. Go up and down the stairs twice. Take a hot shower and enjoy it. Read the book. Set a goal, like I'm going to read 2 pages of this book. Listen to another podcast. Find some music that inspires you. Go sit at a coffee shop and just breathe in and breathe out, right?
I say just give yourself 5 minutes to be bored.
Bored? What's bored?
I know. When's the last time you were bored?
You mean not feeling guilty that I was sitting still and not cleaning out the closet?
Yeah. Put the phone down, silence everything. Just sit, maybe with your coffee or a glass of wine, and just sit. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Something other
5
than scrolling on mindless
I know.
social.
I
Oh,
know.
that to me does not scream self-care. So just want to put that out there. Depending on what you're looking at, that might not be self-care.
I was going to say that not giving yourself permission to not be up to date on all of the news or whatever's going on simply because, and I'm not saying we shouldn't, pay attention to what's going on in our world, but sometimes it really makes me anxious. And
Mhm.
so I give myself permission to just not know what all the latest and greatest headlines are.
All right, Lisa, do we have something we want to challenge our listeners, our friends out there to do?
Well, I would like to hear from you, dear listener. I just like to hear from you. Like, what do you do? Maybe we're the only ones who feel guilty about this. I don't. I don't
I don't
know.
think so.
Of course, if you don't feel guilty about this, or you're doing it really well, you've probably already turned off the episode. I'm just not gonna lie. But I just want to know how we as women can support each other and encourage each other to do this. And maybe you have something that you're listening to us. You're like, but you didn't say this. So tell me, what is it? What did we miss? What can you help us with? I would love that feedback because that's what we're here to do, is support
Mhm.
and uplift one another.
That's right. And if you remember that Angelique commercial and how it
I was
shaped your thought of growing up and what you expected to be able to do as a grown up,
oh my gosh.
solidarity, baby.
Yeah, she went from being a mom to like going to work, and then she put on the sexy
The
thing for the
slinky
husband,
dress.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So she was hitting all the requirements.
It's
She probably was
crazy.
cleaning up the house in the middle of it too, right?
I'm sure she had an immaculate house. We went from like Leave It to Beaver to the Brady Bunch to Be All Do All. Why are we not the CEOs yet? Because we're tired.
Yeah, yeah, I'm tired now. Yeah, that has shaped us so much. That's a whole nother. I think we should do a middle-aged Gen Xer women, like all the things that we thought we were gonna do, and then now we're like, I'm too tired.
Yeah, that's another episode.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
All right, Shelly, thanks for this. I think it's an important topic that we don't talk about enough, so I'm glad that we did this, and I am looking forward to next week because I already know what we're talking about.
Ha 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 ha. So do I.
So I encourage everyone to come back next Thursday, or if you're listening to this later, come back whenever. It's there.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. Can't wait to hear from you.
Bye.